Hare Krishna. I'm very honored to be with all of you again. I was in July here. I would like to ask if is anybody first time here? Oh, welcome very much. You're from Austria?
Myself, I'm living in Vienna, but originally I'm coming from Lithuania.
Ukraine?
Lithuania.
Yeah. Lithuania. Oh, Lithuania. And from Poland? Oh, very nice. So, today we will discuss some very important thing and we'll talk about great saint. Maybe you have heard about him, Narottama dasa Thakura. And yesterday it was appearance day of Narottama dasa Thakura. And when Lord Chaitanya, this is the most merciful avatar, he appeared 500 years ago. He came to river Padmavati in what is now called Bangladesh, East Bengal. And he went into this river and he was calling with great longing, Narottama, Narottama, Narottama. And the river became golden around him. He has a golden complexion, Lord Chaitanya. And he told the river to store this Krishna prema, this means pure love of God, for very special personality that will come later on, and who is called Narottama. And when the river received this love of God to store, it overflooded all the land around in pure ecstasy. And in fact, we all seek ecstasy. It is explained in Shastra, in Vedic scriptures, that we are all anandamayo vyasat. We are all pleasure-seeking beings. We cannot live without happiness. Every our thought, every our word, every our action, in fact, if we know it or not, it is seeking pleasure, it is seeking happiness. Even that you came here today, you wanted to bring your life to some higher quality, isn't it? Otherwise, you could sit in front of the TV or went somewhere to have in some pleasurable park, walking in the park or whatever. So, whatever we choose to do, whatever we choose to speak, whatever we choose to dedicate ourselves, is in fact searching for happiness, searching for pleasure. And therefore it's so important to hear what is real pleasure, what is unlimited happiness that never ends. Because we all have this experience in this world, that we may be enjoying some pleasure, but it very soon ends. And we experience suffering every day. And we don't want to experience suffering. Is there anyone who wants to experience suffering? Masochists, yes, but they want to experience suffering just to enjoy. Just to enjoy, not just to suffer. but just enjoy. So yes, we all want to enjoy. So it's extremely important to connect with the highest type of happiness. And if we discuss and we meditate upon great souls, then naturally we imbibe their qualities and we develop deep desire to be like them. For example, I'm coming from Christian background, and my grandmother was very deeply religious. For example, she was living in the countryside in some hills in Slovenia, and we worked. I spent a lot of my vacations with her, and when we worked outside in the field or in the meadows, when it rang 12 o'clock noon in the church, we stopped and prayed for a little while some part of Rosemary. Have you heard for this prayer, Rosemary? There are beads and you can pray on these beads. It's called about Holy Mary and meditation about suffering of Jesus and the glorious part of Jesus and happy part of Jesus' life and so on. And in the evenings, she was listening to Radio Vatican. I don't know how this radio catch these waves from Radio Vatican in the hills of Slovenia, but somehow or other she was listening, and they were praying Rosemary in Latin, and I was playing with firewood.
With what?
Firewood. With firewood that put it in the fire and gives heat. So they, of course, this in Radio Vatican they prayed in Latin, and she prayed in Slovenian, and she listened this so much that I learned this Ave Maria in Latin, even though I haven't learned Latin at all, never in my life. And still after 45 or even more years, I still don't know Ave Maria by heart in Latin. Yes, so if we expose ourselves to different influences in life, this brings impressions in our consciousness. Our consciousness is compared to wax. You know what is wax? Yes. Wax is like candles are from wax. Yes. And in the older days, they put the stamps into the wax. So our consciousness is like this wax. And whatever is put, whatever stamp, whatever impressions are there into our consciousness, they stay like stamps in the wax. And so it's so important to hear about saintly personalities. I wanted to say that I heard a lot about Saint Francis of Assisi, and I was so enthused by his example that I wanted to become a Christian missionary. Therefore, it's very beneficial to hear about saints, that we can achieve something which is really valuable. Because whatever we get in this material world, at it loses its value. And even if it doesn't, if we live this world, and sooner or later we will leave this world, no doubt about it, we leave everything behind us. But if we get this most valuable treasure of life dedicated to God, this always stays within our heart. Yes, even if we go to some other life, even if we don't attain the ultimate goal of perfection, still these impressions of connection with the holy personalities and with the Lord will stay within our heart. So, Narottama dasa Thakura, this great personality, really appeared. There are different dates assigned to his appearance, but he appeared approximately 50 years after Lord Chaitanya, after this golden avatar, who is the most merciful avatar. And from his birth, he had the signs of most exalted personalities. And some astrologers said that by his influence he will deliver all the people of this land. And they also warned the father that maybe rivers would be dangerous for him. And his father was fabulously rich. You understood? Fabulously means like in fairy tales. And so rich that like in fairy tales. He was some kind of landlord, and even he considered one kind of king of the province. And he and his wife Narayani, they were trying to get a child for long years, but they couldn't get any. So when they finally received a son, they were completely out of themselves by happiness. And they were quite, we can say, overprotective for this son. And when the boys went to this river Padmavati, father never let Narottama to go with them to play at the river, because he was afraid that something can happen to him. But father was also a pious personality, and so he regularly invited brahmanas and religious people to come to his court and speak about the Lord. And then one brahmana came, and he spoke a lot about Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda to Narottama. And Narottama was completely overwhelmed by these narrations. And he was really sorry that he couldn't met them before in person. And one day, in his dream, Lord Chaitanya appeared, this golden avatar, most merciful avatar. And he said, please go to river Padmavati, then there we will receive the most precious gift. And so Narottama went to river Padmavati and entered the river during the night, because otherwise he was always protected by his parents and also the servants of his parents, because his parents were rich and have servants for this purpose also. But during the night he managed to go out and bathe in the river Padmavati. And at that moment he received this stored love of God, which was waiting for him for, I don't know, 40, 50 years. And he was completely out of himself with ecstasy. And then their parents noticed that Narottama is not at home, and they were frantically searching him everywhere, and went also to the river and saw Narottama there, but they couldn't recognize him, because Narottama, when he was born, was a complexion like tamal tree. Tamal tree, like some sort of a tree which has same color as Lord Krishna from Vrindavan. But now he became golden, like molten gold, like Lord Chaitanya. And he was overboiling with love of God. He cannot think of anything but just of Krishna all the time. And then he expressed his desire to his parents that he would like to go to Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a place of pastimes of Lord Krishna, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of all avatars, of all incarnations. Yes, but they were terrified to hear this, because they wanted for someone to inherit the fabulous riches. Because he was the only heir to all the wealth, all the land. And so they put him under the guardian of servants. They guarded him day and night. So one time, by some Krishna's arrangement, everyone was asleep, and he managed, they went somewhere, I forgot exactly where, and he managed to escape, and he was running through the jungle day and night, 3 days. He was running through the jungles, and only a little bit of milk he get on the way. And then he was captured by the father's servants. But he said that they cannot take him back, that he belongs to Krishna, and so they cannot take Krishna what belongs to Krishna. So somehow or other, these soldiers were convinced by Narottama's determination. So he continued his way to Vrindavan. And there in Vrindavan, he met the most glorious personalities, the Goswamis from Vrindavan, which were direct disciples also of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of this golden avatar. And there, he wanted to take initiation from Lokanath Goswami. Initiation, spiritual initiation from Lokanath Goswami. Lokanath Goswami was really special personality. He was instructed by Lord Chaitanya to live in Vrindavan and discover different places of the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And but Lokanath Goswami was so immersed in love to Lord Chaitanya that he was suffering terribly in his absence. And then one day he couldn't manage to be separated from the Lord. And so he went to meet him in Jagannath Puri. But he didn't know that Lord Chaitanya went to pilgrimage in the South India and also other parts of India. And when he was on the way, he heard that Lord Chaitanya came to Vrindavan and he wasn't there anymore. So he was mortified and felt terribly because he left Vrindavan and Lord Chaitanya came to Vrindavan and he wasn't there. Although the Lord Chaitanya instructed him to stay in Vrindavan. So he was running back to Vrindavan, but when he came back to Vrindavan, Lord Chaitanya already left from Vrindavan. So he wanted to just commit suicide. Then Lord Chaitanya appeared in his dream and he ordered him that he stay in Vrindavan and he will never be separated from him, that he will always stay with him in his heart. So Narottama dasa Thakura wanted to take initiation from this special personality. And this is very important instruction also for us. If we want to advance spiritually, sometime in our life we should accept this decision that yes, I want to give up my false ego. False ego means identification with my body. And basically, this false ego is represented by the desire to be independent, to be the Lord of all that we survey. And if we want to spiritually advance, we must accept that we are just servants. It is explained in Shastra, Jivara Svarupahai Krishna Nitya Das, that by our nature we are always the servants. And even the most ardent atheists who are most selfish that can be, they always serve 24 hours a day. But they don't understand. They think that they are the masters, but they are all just the servants. For example, such selfish atheist, of course he doesn't understand that he's not the body, but immediately when he gets up, he starts to serve. He takes his body to the bathroom and he cleanses the body, he dresses the body, he nourishes the body, gives food to the body, gives ornaments to the body, everything in the service of the body. And of course, no human being wants to be alone because we are social animals. And so he has friends and maybe a dog or some animal, and he serves a dog, and he has to be social, and the social means to also serve your friends, your wife, your children, your parents in somehow or other. So every living entity is in fact a servant, if he knows this or not. But to be spiritually awake, we should accept and understand, in fact. First understand, because as we mentioned in the beginning, we are all seeking living entities. Ananda Mayobhyasat. We are seeking Ananda. This is bliss, this is happiness, this is pleasure. And this is no pleasure without service. And real pleasure comes from service to those, if we make happy those who we really love. That will make us most happy. Yes. Now, there is a story from, I think it's an autobiographic story from Slovenian literature. Maybe I told this story in summer. Have you been at my lecture in summer? Yes, then I can repeat. I don't remember if I told it here, but it's a very significant story and instructive. There was a little boy.
Not you?
Sorry?
Someone else, boy, not you?
Not me. It's from literature, Slovenian literature. There was a little boy who heard the conversation between his mother and father. And his mother was telling his father that she would like to go the next day to ornament the Mary's altar in the church, and she would like to bring to this altar special flowers that were growing in the spring time, and they were called like little tears. The name of these flowers were little tears, and they were small white flowers. And so, but she said that these little tears, they don't grow now in this time. They just grow in this one deep valley, which was called hell. And this boy was terrified of this hell. Sometimes in the summertime, sometimes during the summer, his father sent him to herd sheep and goats in this deep valley called hell, because it was dark and steep, and one brooklet was flowing in the bottom of this valley, and so the grass in the slopes of this valley was much greener than outside. So, but he was so afraid of this that he many times escaped out of this valley, and he was punished. But now, when he heard this conversation, he got up before sunrise. It was still dark, and he was running into this deep, dark, steep valley called hell, and it was terrible for him. He just expected that one moment or next some devils will come and grab him and take him away. and he came to the bottom of this valley and found these little tears and started to pick them up. And with a whole bunch of these little tears, he was running out as fast as he could. And when he was returning back home, at that moment, his mother stepped on the threshold of the house, and the rising sun was starting to shed his first rays on his mother. And that was the most happiest moment in his life. And when he came to his mother, he gave her these little tears, and mother immediately understood how much sacrifice he did, because she knew how terrified is her son of this deep dark valley. And he went even before sunrise, in complete darkness, to this valley, just to please her. And this remained within his heart for all his life, this impression, how he made his mother happy. So if we make someone who we love happy, this is most pleasurable for us. And the Holy Scriptures teach us that even if we love someone in this world, or we enjoy something in this world, whatever we have experienced of this world, and we try to derive some happiness from this, it will make us miserable. Miserable, yeah. Jai Shri Gurunita. It will make us miserable. Yehi sansparshasha boga dukkha yona ivati adyantavanta konta nateshu ramati buddha. That those who are intelligent, those who have some sanity, they never try to enjoy in this world. Why? Because everything has its beginning and its end. And because of this, it's dukkha yonaya. It will give birth to misery, to suffering. To suffering, yes. Even if we love our family, it will bring us suffering, because we will be separated from our family, sooner or later. Yes. For example, we are speaking about Narottama. When his father and mother lost Narottama, they were, of course, most miserable. They suffered terribly, because they were attached to this position. So we should, scriptures teach us that we should get attached to Krishna, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to develop permanent relationship which never ends. Even when we end our body, or even when the universe is destroyed, we still have this relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is everlasting. Yes. Because we are spirit. We are spirit. We are not matter. Everything of this world is matter. But the living entities are spirit, are living force, and this is eternal. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead is absolute, which is absolute spiritual force, absolute living force. And if we identify with matter, we'll definitely suffer, because everything material is constantly changing, constantly being created and destroyed. But spirit, this living force, is never created and never destroyed. It's everlasting. Yes. So we should understand that we are not this body, that we are spiritual entities. For example, if we take our picture when we were born, and in the other hand, we take the mirror, we can see that there is completely different personality, apparently. And even scientists say that every 7 years we change all the cells of our body. And so I assume all of us changed our body many times, even during this life. So, but not only on the gross level we changed our body, also on the subtle level, because Vedas explain that our mind, intelligence, and this false identification with matter is also the subtle matter. So our bodies changed, but also our worldview changed. When we were just born, we have completely other desires than now. We have other perception of the world than now. So we have changed on gross and subtle level, but we know that we are still the same personality. Yes, and this same personality is living force, is spiritual spark, which is called traditionally the soul. and of course, we are part and parcel of the supreme spiritual force, of the absolute, yes, which is called Krishna, which means all attractive. We are all attracted to something, either to money, or to opposite sex, or to beauty of the nature, or to fame, or to knowledge, different things. But it is explained in Bhagavad-Gita, which is the basic of spiritual understanding. Yat yat vibhutimat sattvam shrimat urjitam yava tat tatava vagachatvam mamati jonsha sambhavam. Whatever is beautiful, whatever is attractive in this world, is just a spark of my splendor. So, knowingly or unknowingly, even the most ardent atheists are helplessly attracted to God. But they don't know it, because everything what we are attracted to is just a spark of absolute attraction. But when we come in contact with the source of absolute attraction, we are completely conquered with absolute love, and that we are seeking for. Absolute love is the ultimate happiness. There is no happiness separated from love. And therefore, the whole process of Krishna conscious philosophy is to teach us how to awaken our innate spiritual love for the Absolute. So, if we return to Narottama, Narottama was a son of a king, and he wanted to accept Lokanath Goswami for his spiritual master. But Lokanath Goswami because of his separation from Lord Chaitanya, and he thought that he was feeling extremely guilty because he went out of Vrindavan since Lord Chaitanya instructed him to stay in Vrindavan. And he then missed Lord Chaitanya, who came to Vrindavan. So he was mortified by this. And he vowed that he won't take disciples. So he will not initiate anyone as his disciple. But Narottama already accepted him in his heart as his guru, as his spiritual master. So, even though Narottama was a son of a king, fabulously rich, he then, when he was rejected by Lokanath Goswami, because he said, I'm not taking anyone as my disciple, he hid himself in the bushes in Vrindavan. And during the time, of course, there was no toilets anywhere. Lokanath Goswami went to answer the call of nature every day to the river bank. And after he left, Narottama came out of the bushes and cleaned very meticulously this place. And when the next time Lokanath Goswami came there, he saw that everything is cleaned. And then few days passed, and every day it was everything cleansed and very nicely prepared for the next day. So he wanted to know what is happening, because this is not usual. And one day he responded to the call of nature, and then he hid himself in the bushes himself, that he observed what will happen. And he saw Narottama started to clean with his own hands. And he was completely astonished, awestruck. And he came in and asked, Narottama, you're the son of a king, and you're doing this menial work that even untouchables wouldn't do. But he said, Narottama, he just wanted to get the mercy of his spiritual master. So this is extremely important message for us, as I said before, because Narottama already received love of Krishna from the Supreme Personality of himself, but still he wanted to take guidance of some superior personality. So this is really important, that we understand that no, we are not the masters. If we want to develop love, we have to become servants. And also the Lord is the servant of anyone, of everybody. He says, Ye atamam prapadanti tams tateva bhajamaham. As one surrenders to me, I am serving him accordingly. I worship him. So the Lord is always serving. If he serves everyone, even in this world, he gives us air to breathe, and even help us to breathe this air, because if it would be in our control, our breathing even, when we would go to sleep, we would die. Jai Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai. We would die because we wouldn't have control over our breathing during the night, and we wouldn't have control.
What means breathing?
Yes, breathing. And we wouldn't have control over our heartbeat. We don't have control over our heartbeat, even when we are awake. Who has control over his heartbeat? And we don't have control over our kidneys and liver and how we digest food. We can eat, but no control whatsoever over our digestion. So this is all the service of the Lord. And he renders this service from time immemorial for every living entity. So we should also understand this. And when he's Paramananda, he's absolutely transcendentally blissful. And so if you want to also approach this state of complete happiness, we should also understand that we should always serve. Always serve. Yes, because in service there is bliss. If we have this understanding that we are servants of Krishna, but if you have this understanding that we are the masters, then service is something that will terrify us. For example, when I came in contact with Krishna consciousness and I accepted it, it was extremely painful. Just the thought, now I shall become a servant. This is terrible. I always wanted to be a master, something important, but now I have to serve. Just the thought was terrifying. But yes, we are always seeking for such relationship, fulfilling relationships. There is no happiness without relationship. And relationship means service. Of course, in this world, every relationship is based on mutual exploitation. So as much as I put into my relationship, that much I expect in return, or a little bit more. A little bit more. And this is called business deal. And nowadays, we know that sometimes before marriage, husband and wife, they sign a contract. And of course, this is the sign that there is no love at all. This is just business deal. I will give you as much enjoyment for the retirement, for this returning enjoyment. And if I will have the feeling that I don't receive enough back, we will finish the contract. Yes. This is cheating. This is called cheating. This is not love, but business. Cheating. And no one is happy. No one is happy in such a relationship. Yes. Therefore, 5,000 years ago, in the forest of Naimisharanya, there was a gathering of different sages from all over the Holy Land. And they asked Sutta Goswami, the most advanced among them, Purini puri karmani shrotavyani vibhagasha adaksadotra yatsaram samudritya manisha bruhi badraya bhutaname atma suprasidati. They said, you have studied many scriptures, and in these scriptures there are many instructions and prohibitions and many different ways of worship and so on. Please explain us what is the essence of everything. What is the essence? And please explain us such an essence that will bring the most utmost happiness to the living entity. Yanatma suprasidati. Prasidati means happiness, bliss. And suprasidati, this suffix su, prefix su, means completely, absolutely happiness. That means suprasidati means complete happiness, absolute happiness. And then Sutta Goswami answered in the beginning of 2nd chapter of 1st canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. He said, Savaipumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshache ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. And he again used this word suprasidati. how to become absolutely happy. There is only one way to absolute happiness, and this is to develop ahetuki bhakti. Hetu means cause, and ahetuki means unconditional love to the adokshaja, to the absolute personality. Unconditional love, which should be uninterrupted. Because if it is not unconditional, if we expect something in return, whatever, good health, good family, good wife, good husband, good children, good grades in school, or anything like this, then we will have this business mentality in our mind. So if we want to achieve suprasiddhiti state of complete happiness, our love should be ahetuki, without any condition, unconditional love. And it should be suprasiddhiti, it should be apratihata, uninterrupted. So if we would interrupt this ahetuki bhakti, unconditional love, for 10 minutes, then 10 minutes we wouldn't be suprasiddhiti. But we want to be always suprasiddhiti, always completely happy. So this is the key. This path of unalloyed devotional service, of pure devotional service, of pure bhakti. And bhakti is the essence of every spiritual path. For example, Lord Jesus was asked, what is the first and utmost commandment? And he said, to love your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with your existence, and to love your neighbor as yourself.
Like Jesus said.
Sorry?
Like Jesus said.
Yes, Jesus said, like this. And so this is ahetuki bhakti, unconditional love. And it's the same. And in the age of Kali, this unconditional love can be awakened by chanting of the Lord's holy names. As we had this chanting together just before the lecture. And this is also a universal path. It's not just some sectarian idea from India or somewhere. Because all spiritual paths in this age of Kali, Kali means the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. And I'm sure that I don't need to prove to anyone that we live in the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. And the Lord's names have extreme power because they're not different from the absolute source. So they are directly the Lord Himself. When we chant these holy names, we connect with the Lord. And these are also, as I said, the essence of other spiritual paths. For example, Jesus also said, "Hallowed be thy name," in the Lord's Prayer. And in the Psalms, this is in the Old Testament, it is said, "Whoever calls upon the name of the Lord, he will be saved." And in Islam also, they have 99 names of Allah. And also the Buddhists call upon the name of Buddha. So we can see this have a really deep effect, spiritual effect, transcendental effect. Uttama means beyond darkness. Tama means darkness, and Uttama is beyond darkness. And so we should connect with the Lord with this chanting of the holy names by chanting together like before lecture, and also by individual meditation on these prayer beads. We can immerse ourselves in chanting, in connecting with the Lord. Therefore, this movement is scientific movement, how to awaken our consciousness and connect it to the divine love. Yes. And it can be, anyone can join, even if they're Christians or Muslims or whoever. It doesn't matter, because this is universal path, can be accepted by anyone, and no need for change of our religion or anything, because this is beyond religion. Yes, because as explained in Bhagavad-Gita, the thinking of I'm a man or a woman or a dog or a cat or I don't know, doctor or architect or a street sweeper or Christian or Muslim or Hare Krishna. These are all bodily designations that have nothing to do with our soul, nothing to do with our existence, and so they are external, material. So we should seek just this connection with the Lord and try to develop this ahetuki bhakti, pure unalloyed love. And by hearing about great personality, it was Narottama dasa Thakura, we can imbibe this spirit and longing, because longing is most important, that we long to develop this love. Yes. Without longing, because we long, always we long for something. We long for some pleasure. Yes, this is our nature. So we should develop spiritual longing.
What means longing?
Longing means deep desire. Deep desire. So by developing deep longing, deep spiritual longing, we can connect with the Lord. Otherwise we will be superficial and will seek happiness in this material world, in money, in friendship, in family and other things, and we will be cheated. Don't be cheated. Wake up and connect with the Lord. Hare Krishna. Is there any questions or comments or doubts? Yes, please.
So I just wanted to understand, like, if it's possible to not have a business idea of a relationship in this world. Because if I think about myself and I'm really honest, like, even when I don't get something in return from someone I love, like my mother, a situation that I have to listen to, or a friend, I'm doing it really for myself, because if I were not to listen, if I were not present, I would be more in pain than listening. So I'm asking, is there a way to develop this unconditional love, so to have a relationship that is not really about myself, but it's about both?
Yes, this is an important question, very important. In 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained that everyone loves himself only.
Not the masochists.
Also the masochists. And whatever we love, our friends, our parents, our family members, our children, anyone, and whatever we have, we are attached to, our house, our money, or whatever, is just because of our relationship with ourselves.
Or it's fear.
Sorry?
Or it's not love, but fear.
Fear.
Many other motives.
Yes.
So I guess, I'm sure nobody do anything without any motivation. For everything there is a motivation if it goes through the brain.
Yes.
But you have higher and lower motivation. So to help your mother, for any
So-
life, it's a higher motivation.
So, yes, we will explain this.
To prefer to do this than many other things.
Be a little patient. We'll explain everything. So, yes,
To be necessary.
we, of course, love ourselves. But as it is explained in this 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, these inhabitants of Vrindavan loved Krishna more than themselves. And they loved Krishna more than their own children, which is very unusual. And they loved him because it is explained in the Holy Scriptures that this absolute reality is the self of ourselves. So it's more dear to us than ourselves. And of course, as long as we are materially conditioned, there is no possibility to free ourselves from this business mentality. We have, as this gentleman explained, we have lower and higher intentions in our life. But lower and higher intentions and purposes are all material, so therefore not beneficial for our eternal existence, and they will bring us suffering, definitely, even if they are for example, it is explained that karma has ends always in misery, even if we do good. If we do good, then for sometimes we will enjoy our karma because we were good and so on. But because by enjoyment you become attached to things. So I enjoy, for example, this car. But when this car will be destroyed, I will suffer. So either we do noble things or do bad things according to material idea, to material understanding. At the end, we'll always suffer. Therefore, and the scripture are teaching us guna dosha drishir dosha, that thinking in this material consciousness about bad and good things is all bad, because it will bring us to the state of suffering at the end. So the point is that we understand and learn to go beyond this world, to get to the transcendental state. And this is not something to be attained after death. It should be attained now. Because Krishna explains in 8th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, Yam yam vapismaram bhavantya jantyanti kalivaram tam tamaveti kaunta sadat bhava bhavita. Whatever state of consciousness one has in his mind at the state of death, that state will he inevitably attain. So usually people believe that death will bring them some kind of miracle. For example, as I said, I am coming from Christian background. And there are many Christians, at least in Slovenia, is like this, that live ordinary materialistic life. But they believe, they go to church maybe every Sunday if they're really pious, but ordinarily just they live material life. And they believe that I'm a good person, and at the end of my life I'll go to heaven. But this is against this idea. They believe in some miracle that death will bring complete change of my existence. I'm living in material life, ordinary material life, and when death comes, I will enjoy heavenly pleasures. And also atheists believe in miracle at the time of death. They believe I exist now, and at the time of death I will no longer exist. So they also believe in complete change of existence. And also some devotees believe I can have material desires, but Krishna is merciful. And at the end of life, I'll go to spiritual world. And they also believe that the death will bring them complete change of existence. But no, Krishna says, Yam yam vapismaram bhavanti arjantanti kalivaram tam tam evetikanta sadatat bhavapavita. Whatever state of consciousness one has at the time of death, that will just continue. So, if if someone wants to go to heaven, he should live in heaven now. If one wants to go to the spiritual world, he should live in the spiritual world now. Otherwise, we will just continue our material existence. So this process of Krishna consciousness is to teach us to develop this spiritual consciousness. Therefore, it is called Krishna consciousness movement. It's not Krishna worship movement. Of course, we worship Krishna, but most important is our consciousness. Our consciousness. So this is Krishna consciousness movement. How to develop our consciousness. Yes. So our consciousness should be on the spiritual level. So we'll just continue our spiritual existence. Hare Krishna. Anything else?
So spiritual is anti-material, no?
Spiritual is beyond material. Beyond material.
Because
It's not anti.
we have material and idealistic, no? Also concrete is the matter, no? And idealistic is the mind. Or what is mind and intellect.
Vedas explain.
But the matter is seen as the basic thing. But that means not that we cannot be independent of the matter in a certain scale. For example, now we are also speaking freely, and this is not completely material. No? It's the mind and the matter, the body. This is the concept that also in India is taken on, and in China. In China they also have a lot of, I say, tradition and spiritual ideas. Also in Japan they have changed. Everywhere.
Sorry?
Everywhere in the world they have changed to the concept that in this life here, we are spending here, the matter is the basic thing.
In the seventh.
If you think what is beyond this life, this is another thing. But why I shall discharge it? Why I shall not accept this as it is? If all is running like this.
Yes, this is important thinking.
This is finally it's a question of belief.
Sorry?
Finally, it is a question of belief.
Yes, everything basis on belief. We are beings of belief.
It's difficult to believe
Even
in this way because all what we see here is telling us the matter is the essence.
yes, in 7th chapter of Bhagavad-gita is explained, Bhumirapo naluvayu kamano buddhirevacha ahankareti anme bina prakritir ashtada aparayasitastvanyam prakritim vidi me param Jiva Bhuta, Vaho Yayedam Dharati Jagat. That this material world is composed of different material elements, earth, water, fire, and so on. And there are also subtle material elements, as you said, these ideas. That means intelligence, mind, consciousness, and so on. But beyond this is spiritual spark, is Jiva Bhuta, spiritual living entities who enjoy this lower material nature. And I explained before, if we observe, spirit is always matter is always changing. It's dead. So our body, subtle and gross, is just a whirlwind of dead matter. And on one side, we take this dead matter in ourselves, we feed this dead whirlwind of matter, and on the other side, we put away these elements from our body. And so this is ever changing that matter around, which is around spiritual substance, the living force.
In sense, it is not changing. You have the elementary particles.
Yes, we are everlasting.
You have the basic physical
Yes.
laws.
This is explained in Vedas.
But the Indian religion has changed.
No, this is Sanatana dharma. Sanatana means eternal. Yes.
This
And
is why you have so many avatars, coming and
but this is one avatar. Avatari is Krishna. Avatari means the souls of all avatars. So we can discuss this also during prasad, the spiritual food. That will not take this lecture too long. Oh yes, you have.
Very last question to go back to what we were discussing before. Like you mentioned, replying to my question, that developing like the love for Krishna, if I understood correctly, it's the answer to abandon this business idea of relationship. But even getting closer to Krishna, even coming to the temple, is actually following a business idea of me getting better. So is this fine? Or
Yes, this is the beginning. We have to start somewhere, as it is explained. Even the longest path starts with the first step. So we should start from where we are. We cannot just jump somewhere. But with this scientific process, you can advance very nicely. Yes. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi.